Starting around 2013, China has created several large artificial islands surrounding the Spratlys. They know that they are battling with 5 countries regarding control over the islands, and the Chinese are doing everything that they can to assert dominance. What they're doing is that they're extracting sand from the seabed, and they pile it onto existing coral reefs. Aside from that, they have also constructed military aircrafts, which enhances their presence on the islands. Furthermore, there are claims saying that they're accessing and exploiting the rich natural resources in the surrounding waters, including the fish and the oil reserves. China's actions have caused widespread international criticism, and the Philippines are among the first to express condemnation. Nonetheless, China has chosen to continue their actions, despite the tensions.
In Spratly Islands, part of which is being claimed by the Philippines.
Aside from China, Vietnam has also engaged in developing its presence in the islands, particularly by constructing military and radar systems, although to a much smaller degree compared to China's aggressive tactics. The Philippines, however, has not backed down in the fight, and they've also tried to assert their territorial claims over the Spratly Islands. In recent years, the Philippines has worked on the Pag-asa Island, which is the most significant portion that they control in the Spratlys. The Philippines have built civilian homes, solar power facilities, and even military bases as well. Despite being a relatively small country, the Philippines continues to fight for its rights. I mean, can you imagine living on a tiny island where everyone wants a piece? The Philippines is making sure that everyone knows that they're not backing down, despite all the odds. How cool is that? Nonetheless, aside from the 3 countries that I mentioned, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan have also involved themselves in the infamous territorial conflict. What is with the Spratly Islands, and why are there so many countries that are fighting over it? What motivates each country? And the most important question is, which country will win? Will there be even a winner? Or will this issue eventually cause a much bigger problem in the future? Before we dive deeper into today's topic, let me welcome you to Grand Line Media, where we explore some of the most important topics in geography and beyond. So please, sit back and relax as we discover what the Spratly Islands really are and what makes them so special. The Spratlys, which is a group of over 100 small islands and reefs in the South China Sea, are not just a collection of rocks. Experts believe that below them, there are rich reserves of oil and natural gas, with estimates suggesting up to 11 billion barrels of oil and 190 trillion cubic feet of natural gas in the surrounding waters. What's more, the area is a vital fishing ground, and it provides the livelihood of many fishermen around the region. In the past, the Spratlys have been the subject of competing claims for centuries. So, let's talk about the Philippines and their claim over the Spratlys. The country's claim is rooted in history and geography, emphasizing their long-standing connection to the region. They call these islands the Kalayaan Island Group, which means Freedom Island Group. Back in 2016, something incredible happened for the Philippines. They took their fight to the Permanent Court of Arbitration and won a landmark case against China. The court said that China's claims based on their 9-dash line had no legal standing. Can you imagine the relief the Filipinos must have felt because of that decision? I did not need to say this, but it was obviously a huge moment of national pride for the Philippines, and it showed the world that they were standing up for their rights. The Exclusive Economic Zone, also known as the EEZ, is an important concept when it comes to the Philippines and the Spratlys. The EEZ is like a country's personal space in the ocean, stretching 200 miles from its coast, where it has the exclusive right to fish, explore for oil, and use all the natural resources. For the Philippines, This zone includes parts of the Spratlys, and it's a huge deal for the country's economy, and especially for the people who depend on these waters for their livelihoods. But despite international law supporting the Philippines' claim, China has not backed down from asserting its own control over the area. Why? Let's take a closer look. The thing is, for China, the Spratlys are not just about claiming their territory. These islands represent a combination of strategic military importance, abundant resources, and most importantly, regional influence. Control over the Spratlys gives China a huge power over one of the world's busiest shipping routes, through which 1/3 of global trade flows. Now, this control also provides China unlimited access to reserves of oil and gas, which is important for China's growing economy. China views the Spratlys as part of its national pride, and they have a narrative built around historical claims. If they back down now, it would be seen as a weakness. So despite international rulings, China continues to affirm its claims, despite possibly looking ridiculous already. You know what I mean? Anyway, now that we've discussed extensively what the Spratly Islands are and why these countries like them so much, let's shift our focus to what the Philippines is fighting for. Now is the time to pop the big question. Do they actually stand a chance of winning this battle? Certainly, there are factors that could influence the chances of the Philippines in this conflict. Let's break it down and explore the details even more, shall we? Determining whether the Philippines has a chance of winning the battle is no simple task. It's a complex situation filled with historical dispute, international law, and, let's not forget, loads and loads of geopolitical drama. On one hand, the Philippines has a solid historical claim backed by international law. However, at the same time, it faces some pretty tough challenges, especially from China's aggressive stance in the region. First off, finances play a big role in any country's efforts to exert authority. The Philippines is investing in its military and infrastructure, but budget constraints can really hold the country back. The defense budget isn't that much, so it limits how quickly the country can modernize its military. The Filipino government is committed to upgrading its forces and acquiring new ships and aircraft, but it has to balance these priorities with other needs like education and healthcare. Plus, with ongoing tensions in the region, there's always that immediate need for defense spending, which complicates things even more. Second, the Philippines has been exerting efforts into modernizing its armed forces, but let's be real. It still can't match China's military power. China has advanced military tech that puts the Philippines at a disadvantage. However, the Philippines isn't going down without a fight. The Southeast Asian country is strengthening ties with allies, particularly the United States. And that's definitely a smart move. But at the end of the day, even with allies, the power imbalance is a real issue. Then there's China's aggression, which adds a whole other layer of complexity. China has been making sure that they're dominating the South China Sea, claiming almost everything with its 9-dash line. They've built artificial islands and military installations in the Spratlys in an attempt to establish control whenever they can. Now, this isn't just about politics. Local Filipino fishermen have been facing harassment from Chinese vessels, and it's already affecting their livelihood. The fishermen's experiences are nothing short of alarming. Imagine being out there, surrounded by the open sea, just trying to do your job and provide for your family, when suddenly a larger boat comes charging at you. Reports have shown that these fishermen are victimized by China's violent tactics, ranging from harsh verbal threats to incidents where water cannons are used against them. Some have even faced ramming incidents, where their small fishing boats are bumped and pushed aside by Chinese vessels. So, with all this tension and uncertainty, what does the future hold for the Philippines regarding the Spratly Islands? The stakes are high, and the situation is evolving in a very fast manner. The path ahead for the Philippines is filled with challenges, but there's also potential for hope. The country is ramping up its military capabilities. This is a significant step because we all know that a stronger military presence would help safeguard the fishermen and provide better protection. Additionally, the country is strengthening ties with allies, and this could provide the Philippines with much-needed support. However, it's important for Filipinos to admit to themselves that navigating these problems won't ever be easy. Ultimately, the big question remains: will the Philippines be able to navigate these complicated waters and secure a brighter future for its fishermen and its territorial integrity? The truth is, only time will tell,